Hi, I'm James Schillinglaw for Insider Travel Report. I'm here at the Asta River Cruise Expo, and this is the very first day. And this is, I think, my second interview with a good friend, Pam Hoffey, who's the president of Avalon Waterways. And we're on one of her ships. I think it's Avalon Envision.
Yes.
And they're all, as these ships are stacked up. They got 16 ships here in Amsterdam for the Asta River Cruise Expo, and we're going around and talking to each one of the brands and seeing what's new. And you're going to hear all about Avalon and more on Insider Travel Report. Pam, first of all, it's great to see you. How are you doing?
I'm doing great. It's always great to see you too. Thanks for reaching out and coming to visit me this morning.
I know, and I came over. I'm just visiting river ships all day long, and you've been here for a little while here.
I have. We started last week with our 2026 season kickoff meeting, so all the leadership of all of our shipboard teams were here, in Nijmegen on 3 ships, kind of getting together, getting ready for what 2026 is to bring. And then I was here for the CLIA Riverview conference.
That's the one, the European one. I know that. That happened last year, right before this. Now let's talk a little bit about. Let's sort of set the stage. How many ships do you have in your fleet now?
We have 16, most in Europe, and then we have the Avalon Saigon, our sweet little 18-room ship on the Mekong. And then we also operate on the Nile with a partner and on the Amazon with a partner as well.
Okay, so you're pretty much got a lot of it covered. The next question I'm going to ask about is the itineraries, but I wanted to ask about any new ships. I know you don't have anything this year, but anything in the horizon?
We do. We're not yet talking about them because we haven't finalized every detail. We have done a huge project actually over the last year, talking to our guests, talking to our captains, talking to our hotel managers, talking to travel advisors, and asking what would the next Avalon suite ship look like to you. So every single ship in our fleet is exactly the same. Mm-hmm. Some are smaller, but the layout of the rooms is the same. The feeling on board is identical, and it makes it really easy for advisors. And so in thinking about what do we do next, we really wanted to be intentional about it. And so we've undergone this big project. The reality is, most people have told us not to change that much.
No, you were famous for what? You're the first one to introduce the Panorama Suite a few years ago, many years ago, and it's become so popular. And I think people like the layout of the ship.
They do, and that Panorama Suite in particular. I mean, we had people saying, "Don't you dare change the Panorama Suite," through this process because it is beloved by our guests. Advisors love it. I think it's one of the, I don't think it is absolutely the main differentiator of Avalon because of that 11-foot wide wall-to-wall, floor-to-ceiling window that creates a balcony when you want it, and when you don't, you have the entire use of the space in your stateroom. And of course, the biggest feature is that with that, we were able to turn the beds to face the view.
Everyone remarks on that. Some people have imitated that, but not everybody. I think you still have that kind of unique feature.
And 2 full decks of it,
two full decks. Yeah. That makes it a lot of times you get lower. You get there, you got some other interesting views. But
yes.
Now, where do you go today? What are your itineraries? What are the rivers you serve? You mentioned the Mekong. Obviously, Europe is big. You do almost every European river, right?
We do. Yes. So expansion on other rivers is certainly something we're always looking for, but at this point in Europe, we've pretty much covered the majority of the continent.
And then you have Nile and Mekong, and anything else?
And the Peruvian Amazon.
I forgot the Peruvian Amazon. Yeah, so you got a lot of rivers covered, and what are do you have any new itineraries that you're going to be introducing this year and next year?
So we introduced a lot of new itineraries last year, and a lot of them still haven't caught on, so I'm going to still talk about them, even though they are not 100% new in 26, but they're 9-night cruises. And they are really great for people who want to extend their time. I mean, we keep hearing over and over that people are staying longer, that they want to take advantage of that airline ticket and spend more time here. So 9-night cruises, they have the one on the Danube has 2 nights in Vienna. So they're not going a longer stretch of the river. They're doing the same, but they're taking more time about it. Right. So we have one on the Danube, one on the Rhine, and one in Holland and Belgium. And those are really popular, and I think we're seeing some opportunity to grow that even more.
Well, actually, I always make a thing. The Danube is one of the first cruises many people take, but I've done the Danube many times, but I need new ways to see it, right? And maybe longer ways to see it.
Yeah, and new ports to try. So on that itinerary, we go to Visegrad and Esztergom in Hungary, which is in the Danube Bend. Really amazing ports with interesting things to do. The Esztergom Basilica, I think most people see it when they're sailing by and they say, oh, what's that beautiful building? And to stop there. And Visegrad, there's this, it sounds a little bit corny, this medieval knights tournament that is so much fun. That's held up.
I've never done that. That would be fun.
Yeah, it is really fun, and it's held up in the castle where Dracula was held, and we have hikes that go up that same hill up to the castle. So there are great things to do in Visegrad, and most people sail right past. So to have that itinerary that can add some new destinations has really been fun.
Well, I know somebody mentioned to me the other day in Instagram, you can go up in that dome. You can actually walk up there, and I've said I've never done that. And there are things I haven't done on the Danube, which is hard to believe. I've walked up to the castle in Dürnstein a million times, although last year I did it, and I did it in a new way. I was the only person on the mountain.
Really?
Yeah.
I have that experience of being the only one there.
It's thrilling and yet somehow horrifying because you realize there's a lot of boulders up there, and if you fall, they're going to find your body there at the end. But I love the silence. I love the silence of it. I love.
Kind of doomsday there.
I was thinking I was in a dark state there. But that was it. Just a thought occurred to me as I was going down. I would love the solitude of it though. Yeah. That was amazing. So let's talk a little bit about last year. I was actually on your Bordeaux cruise, which you were introducing, and we all had a wonderful time. And then a few weeks ago, you decided that you're going to switch focus and not do Bordeaux, but you're going to focus on Seine. And why did you do that?
So it was an incredibly tough decision, and
we weighed the wine and everything else we were going to have.
And it's such an incredible destination and itinerary, and the people of Bordeaux could not have been more welcoming to us. And so I think that's the hardest thing, as in most things in life when you're making tough decisions, is if it's affecting people. And our team there was disappointed, but we really had to make some tough decisions. France is absolutely at the top of our guest wish list of the places that they want to go in the future, and our Seine cruises are sold out for 9 months in advance. There's very little capacity left on the Seine in 2026, and unfortunately the Bordeaux itineraries, as much as we promoted them, as much as we talked about them, still were not performing to the same level as the rest of our fleet. So we have a limited amount of capacity, and we had to make tough decisions. So we've moved the ship for 2027 to the Seine, so it will still be there in 2026. There are still opportunities to experience that incredible destination with Avalon in 2026, and we hope
get a few more like me who became converts. I had only done a very quick Bordeaux cruise once before, and it wasn't long enough, and I did it with you, and I said, wait a minute, there is a reason to come down here.
Absolutely, and I hope that we get back there again someday. It was one of those choices that was hard but had to be made.
Now, do you do Rhone?
We do, absolutely.
Rhone is another it's a similar cruise with lots of wine and lots of great food and wonderful history and medieval to Roman. It's an amazing cruise. I often think Rhone should be one of the starter cruises rather than Danube.
Yeah, I mean, the Rhone, when people ask what's your favorite itinerary, a smart person would say, oh, the Rhine and the Danube, where we have the most to sell. We do have one ship on the Rhone, and I have to admit that is actually my favorite itinerary.
Well,
so
I do hope you get back to Bordeaux, if only because I love the wineries we visited, and the wine museum in Bordeaux is fantastic. So
the entire destination's fantastic. It was absolutely nothing about a lack of performance of the itinerary.
So if you're in Bordeaux, don't feel left out. They'll be back. We'll see what happens. Now let's talk a little bit about, you also raised the number of Christmas market cruises. That's become a real popular item, right?
It is incredibly popular, and I was looking at 2019 and comparing to 2026, and we actually have double the amount of departures and capacity on Christmas markets than what we had in 2019, and we had been growing pretty steadily even to 2019. So 2026, we have every ship that we can operate on the Rhine-Main-Danube Christmas markets is operating Christmas markets.
No, it's a wonderful experience, and it really is a very special time, and I've done a couple of them, and they really are incredible cruises, and they're growing in popularity.
They are. And for us, we don't call it a Christmas market cruise unless all of the Christmas markets on that itinerary are open. So for 2027, we've actually added something even more to extend that season. We've added what we're calling festive cruises. So it's pretty much kind of the week before most of the markets open. So a lot of the markets open at Advent. That's the cadence of when they open. So, that end of November period where some of the markets are open, but not all of them. And so our ships will be decorated. We'll be doing the Christmas experience on board and then visiting some markets. But we don't call it a Christmas market cruise unless they're all open. So that's another way to extend it. And they're a little bit better value of price also. So I think that's a great opportunity for advisors in 27.
No, they really have been growing in popularity. And if you go on one, you'll understand. And really, I encourage all of you out there to try one and then go book it for your clients. Now, you also have introduced sort of collections of itineraries. I think you call it Cozy Europe. Talk a little bit about that and what those are.
Yeah, so another trend we're seeing is people wanting to travel in the shoulder season, a little bit off season. So in the past, our ships all kind of ended their season at the end of October, early November, took a break, and then came back for the Christmas market cruises. And we're seeing people wanting to travel in November. It's absolutely a trend. So several of our ships are actually, so all of France has continued through November. Half of the ships on the Rhine and half on the Danube are going to be traveling through November. So we thought it would be fun to kind of create a collection out of it. So it starts with our wine appreciation cruises. Those are kind of in harvest season, end of October, or mid-October to the end of October. And then value season is the best way to describe early November. If there are people who want to try river cruising but maybe aren't 100% sure of the price point and they don't yet understand the value, because we know there's such huge value in river cruising. And so if there are people who want to try it, maybe haven't gotten there yet, about 35% off of peak pricing in that early November time frame.
That's a good secret to know if you're a booking travel advisor. Thank you for letting us know about that.
Absolutely. And then those festive cruises that I mentioned and going right into Christmas markets. So when our marketing people said, we're going to call it the Cozy Collection, I was like, those words will never come out of my mouth. And now I use it all the time because it does really kind of combine it all into a nice package.
No, that's nice. And another thing you do is these storyteller cruises. You've had some personalities on board. I think you have returning this year Graham McTavish, the Scot. Everybody likes him, and then I think of a few others this year, right?
We do. This year we have Graham McTavish, who is our spokesperson also. Right. If you haven't seen our fantastic video commercial, I guess is the right word, with Graham, it really does explain what makes Avalon unique. It's cheeky, it's fun. I think it brings our personality to life. And Graham is not only our spokesperson, he actually loves to travel with Avalon, and so he'll be back on the Rhone, which is fun this year. It's almost sold out. There are a few cabins left in June. And then Sister Hazel, the band from Florida, this is their third time coming back with us, and they love the experience on Avalon. It's they're fans. To be on a ship of 166 guests maximum, and you take out 10 being the band and their people, so 150 travelers getting to sail with your favorite band, see them perform in this small, intimate venues. Pretty great experience.
No, it sounds wonderful, and these cruises are really popular for both of those. For Graham and also for the band. What's
Sister Hazel.
Sister Hazel. I got to remember that. So look for those in this. And then you actually had usually in the evenings. A river cruise is a pretty sleepy place. In the most part, they bring on local entertainment, but you actually started an Avalon After Dark program. Tell us a little bit about that and what you do at night.
Yeah, so this is coming in 2026, and I think it's kind of the accumulation of a lot of changes that we've been making based on guest feedback. So back in 2021, we made the very bold decision to not have a lounge pianist anymore on Avalon. That was the entertainment on river cruise ships, right?
Absolutely.
And we saw that it was not something our guests were appreciating. And so we decided, let's do nighttime differently. So we do bring in local entertainment, as you said. Every week, we at least have one kind of party band to bring a lively kind of fun dance atmosphere. We typically have a pianist or a guitar player one night, some sort of cultural entertainment typically on one night, and then our cruise directors and our adventure hosts will host things like trivia. I'm not a karaoke fan, but if there are karaoke people on board, they'll do a karaoke party and a dance party.
So we can't convince you to go up and sing karaoke.
It takes a lot of that wine we were talking about earlier to get that to happen, I'll admit. But, you know, really kind of creating fun based on what the guests on board are looking for. So that's a piece of it. Our adventure hosts are tasked this year with, you know, bringing that to life even more. And we also have this incredible grill up on our sky deck. And this actually, a charterer brought this to us. They said, why don't we do dinners up there?
Yeah.
And we'd never been doing dinners there. And then we did it for this big charter that we had that went on for 8 weeks in 2024 in the summer. And it was a huge success. And so we're bringing that. We started doing it last year on kind of a test basis to make sure that our guests enjoyed it as much as that charter's guests did. And they did. And so that's coming across the fleet, obviously in warm weather. And we're doing something that I think is really a fun use of the fact that we are in port a lot at night. Unlike ocean cruise lines where, you know, you have to sail in order to open the casinos and get the shops open. We don't have to sail at night. So we spend night in port a lot. So our team put together all of these kind of I don't know what to call it, a destination sheet that talks about how to go into a city in terms of, well, we'll take you there first of all, but where are the bars? Where's live music happening? Where are the restaurants? If you go into a pub in Germany, do you start your own table if there are these big tables, or do you join a table that's already got people at it? Do you have to pay cash? You know, what are the cultural things you need to know when going out? And so I'm really excited for that. We're going to have a meetup time that, you know, everybody who wants to go can get together if you want to go with other people and head out. So I think that's going to be a lot of fun.
Do you think these programs have kind of changed your demographic a bit, and you're maybe skewing a little younger than you were before?
We absolutely are skewing younger than we were before, and I think that all started with our Active and Discovery cruises, which are truly unique. And, you know, they are bringing the new generation of travelers to river cruising. And in general, river cruising is finding younger travelers. But with Avalon, you know, we buy research to know what the demographics are. And we do skew about 5 years younger than the average. And on those Active and Discovery, 10 years younger. And so we're a very customer-focused company. So if we see that people are lingering in the lounge and kind of bored, looking for something to do, we're going to react to that and come up with opportunities to give them the cruise that they're looking for and the most fun that they can have here.
Well, I was talking to two somewhat younger public relations professionals who were walking around, and he said, we love river cruises, but we always thought it was for older people. And in general, yes, that has been the case. But I do think it's skewing younger, and it is becoming a product that people maybe in their late 30s and 40s and should consider, right?
Absolutely. And I've never really understood why river cruising was seen for older people. And I think some of it's a self-fulfilling prophecy. If you look at how river cruises were being advertised, it was kind of this passive, sit back, watch the world go by type experience. And it can be if that's what you want. If that's what you're looking for, river cruising can deliver that. But, you know, we also have excursions like the hike that you were talking about, and even more challenging hikes than that.
And biking too.
Biking, e-bike rides, canoeing, kayaking. It can be an incredible, and just even the walking tours. You know, a lot of people will say, wow, this is a really active experience. And so, yes, it can be active if you want. It can be certainly relaxing and passive if you want. So it really is for everyone.
I agree with you, and I think it really has to generally get a little younger, and it's a great product for younger people. I'm out of that demographic now. I'm supposedly the demographic that you should be targeting, but honestly, there are some river cruises, not yours, where I feel young, which is, I guess, maybe that's the whole goal, is to make me feel younger, right?
Well, I joke around because I've told people, you know, well, it seems like the guests are getting younger and younger. Like, I'm the average age on board. And then I remind myself I've worked for this company for 23 years. So I'm also getting a little bit older. But I'm in my mid-50s. I am absolutely the average age that I see on board. I don't feel super young. Yes, there are some older people, there are some younger people. But, you know, Avalon really is a brand that can fit anyone's needs based on all of the choices that we offer, all of the flexibility, and all of those things I think are what are bringing that next generation into us.
And that's great news to hear, because I think it's a product that really can serve a lot of different needs for a lot of different kinds of guests. And let's talk a little bit about something we started to talk about. One of the things that you've always emphasized is emphasize all the space you have on board. And we're actually in one of the lounges on one of your ships. We talked about the panorama suites, but that's a major selling point for you, is the spaciousness of your ships, and not just the cabins, but the public spaces, right?
It is, and it's something that's really important to us in our design. Whenever we're designing a new space, any place that everyone would want to gather. So our lounge, for example, the sky deck, our dining room, we have enough seating for everyone on board. And so that's not the case with every cruise line, because in the same amount of space, so the 135 meters and 11.5 meters wide, that any ship that's going to travel through all the locks and traverse Europe's waterways can only be that size. So we have 166 guests maximum, typically on average 150-ish, because we do attract a lot of solo travelers. So there's plenty of space on board, where some on that same exact footprint have 190 guests. Yeah. So when you're looking at space on the sky deck, you're never going to have an issue finding a seat, or in the lounge. And so that's really important to us, and it creates a point of relaxation. This club lounge is one of my favorite rooms, and so many of our guests say that they love having access to it 24 hours a day. Others have put an alternative dining spot back here, or even staterooms back here. And for us, this is kind of the living room of the ship, or the family room. Maybe the front's the living room where everyone is. This is where you come to kind of kick back. We have games and books and cookies and mixed nuts and crackers and all sorts of snacks, and a great coffee machine that everyone loves. So I would hate to lose this space and this kind of calm place to come and relax.
No, it is a unique. I've seen some other ships have this, but not. You really are different. Most people put a restaurant back here, or more cabins.
Yes.
So this is the way it goes. Now, you also have been, last year we talked about how you've really totally refreshed all the spaces and the decor of the ships as well, right?
We have, and that came from, I just was noticing that as we built and launched the Envision, which is the ship we're on, and the View, which we also have here, and then Alegria in Portugal, our ship design was changing. We had always had kind of bright colors and bold patterns, and I saw that we were going more subtle, and that was just how design was changing. And so I looked at it and I said, okay, we're constantly refreshing these ships, but we were just doing them in the same look and feel that they had. And so as it came time to replace things, we brought our designer back in and totally refreshed all of the public spaces of every single one of our ships. So our oldest ship looks exactly the same as our newest ship. And we actually took an industry event with the Canadian market, the ACTA River Cruise Expo, on our oldest ship last year, which is the Avalon Panorama. It was launched in 2011. And, advisors were shocked when I said this is the first ship in our fleet, because it looks brand new.
Yeah, that's wonderful that you've redone all these spaces. Now, finally, I guess I want to ask you, how is business in 2025, and what is it looking like so far in 2026?
Well, a huge thanks to the advisor community to bring me to the point where I can say we had a record 2025. It was the most travelers we've ever had with Avalon. Not the highest load factor, I was reminded, the second highest, but that's okay. We have more ships that we're selling. So we're on track for 26 to hit and exceed that highest load factor. So let's see if that momentum continues. For sure, it's going to be another record year in 26.
And so far, you're not seeing any impact from the war in the Middle East, even though it's not affecting except Egypt, I guess, where you have a boat. And I don't know if it's been canceled now, but hopefully we'll be back soon.
We did cancel our Egypt itineraries through the end of April at this point. Yes, our absolute hope is that we'll be able to bring those back. And we didn't see anything. I mean, it's only been a week. So looking at last week, our sales were actually ahead of where they were the same week in 2025. It was an absolutely normal week. Looking at the couple of days of this week, again, 100% normal in terms of the numbers. We are seeing some effect out of our Australasian market because they do travel very regularly to Europe via the Middle East. So we've given those travelers options on how to rebook if they can't find new air. Certainly that's our hope, that they'll be able to reroute and still come. But as of now, we're not seeing any effect with Avalon.
That's really encouraging. I was wondering if this would have some effect, but so far, except for the Egypt cruises, which is sad because that's a wonderful cruise, and hopefully they'll be back soon, we haven't seen any effect on Europe and elsewhere that you go.
Yeah, not yet, and I hope not at all, of course.
Now, anything else you want to tell our 125,000 travel advisors about Avalon Waterways today?
You know, just that we're here to support you. We hope that if you don't know your business development manager, please reach out, find them. They are here to build your business with you. They are your partner. We're your partner. We have your back as the Globus family of brands, and we want to be your number one choice in River. So we hope that we have the opportunity to work with you. If we aren't, if we are working with you, thank you so much for trusting your clients with us.
I'm really upset. I'm not sailing with you post Astor River Cruise, but I had such a wonderful time, and we'll have to come back another time on one of your other itineraries, because I really did enjoy last year in the Bordeaux, and I think I would enjoy almost any of the itineraries, and I've been lucky enough to be on a few others. Again, wonderful to see you here at Astor River Cruise.
Thanks, James. It's great to see you. You're such a great advocate for river cruising and also telling your story of how much you enjoyed Avalon. So thank you so much.
I'm James Schillinglaw aboard Avalon Envision, and this is Insider Travel Report.